Have you ever watched a royal scandal spiral so fast that every new headline seems to raise even more questions than the last? Because that's exactly where this story begins. A courtroom defeat. A staggering financial figure. A prince insisting he has been wronged. Critics declaring it a complete collapse. And behind the palace walls? Absolute silence. The louder the public debate becomes, the quieter the institution appears. Coincidence or strategy? That's the mystery fueling one of the most talked about royal controversies in recent memory. While supporters argue Prince Harry was standing up for what he believed, others insist the court's decision exposed a much bigger problem, one that stretches beyond lawsuits and straight into the future of the monarchy itself. And as each new detail emerges, one question refuses to disappear: is this simply another chapter in a family feud, or is something much larger unfolding behind the scenes?
Yikes! The Daily Mail wants $75 million and could well bankrupt Prince Harry following his disastrous legal action against the newspaper, which saw all 97 claims thrown out by the furious judge, Mr. Justice Nicklin. Harry, in a characteristically unhinged and mad rant, says, yeah, the verdict, it was shocking, unwarranted, and obviously a whitewash, yeah? Now, that is outrageous.
But what Prince Harry did, according to Charlotte, was to slip that white pill into her mouth. And that was done as a way of really cementing a bond of trust. He said, now I can trust you. As I said in my video, you don't do that with a polo, okay?
Because to be honest, his brother, Prince Harry, owes me 1,400 squid because I was his dealer at Eton.
Okay.
So if you could ask him kindly to Venmo me or pay me in cash.
That judge is Mr. Justice Nicklin, and he's going to decide whether Harry will pay unlimited legal costs of up to $75 million. Money that Harry hasn't got. Better pray, Harry, that you're insured, and better pray that Mr. Justice Nicklin has a good night's sleep and doesn't get out of bed the wrong side in the morning.
The ruling instantly ignited debate across television studios, newspapers, and social media. According to commentary featured throughout the transcript, the court rejected all 97 claims brought in the case, leading critics to describe the judgment as a devastating setback. Supporters of the ruling argued that the decision reflected the court's assessment of the evidence presented, while others questioned what the long-term consequences could mean. Not only financially, but also for Harry's public image. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't simply about who won or lost in court. It became about credibility, reputation, and whether years of legal battles had reached a turning point.
And here's the thing. Given the very flimsy nature of the evidence provided by Harry, all of which collapsed under scrutiny, not only could he and his fellow claimants, including Sir Elton John, be liable for tens of millions of dollars, but his insurers could walk away too, further adding to Harry's financial pain.
The fact is, they just failed to produce convincing evidence on any of 97 counts. Now that is a genuine horror show.
Was that 97 sort of individual stories that they were saying that they had presumably...
These have derived from...
They could argue what had been derived from that, and they had evidence to back that up in court.
But they didn't, and they did not have a case. And the indictment from the judge was just incredibly damning.
Then attention shifted toward money. Not simply because of the enormous figures being discussed, but because financial pressure often tells a deeper story than public statements ever can. Throughout the transcript, commentators speculate about Harry's inheritance, publishing income, ongoing expenses, and whether potential legal costs could create significant financial strain. These discussions remain opinions expressed by those commentators rather than established findings, yet they fueled endless public fascination. Suddenly people weren't only asking what happened in court, they were asking what happens next. How would future decisions affect his finances? Could existing resources absorb another major setback? Or would this become the beginning of a much larger financial challenge?
Now, there are concerns that the insurers could dispute or reduce cover if the court makes a punitive costs award based on the judge's criticisms. Mr. Justice Nicklin's 436-page judgment criticised Harry for relying on suspicion rather than evidence.
As analysts continued examining the situation, another question quietly emerged. If appearances matter as much as reality inside royal life, how important is maintaining the image of success? Luxury homes, security, staff, public expectations. Whether fair or unfair, those symbols carry enormous weight. Critics argued that downsizing could be interpreted as weakness. Others insisted appearances should never outweigh financial responsibility. Either way, the debate moved far beyond legal documents and into something much more personal. The pressure of maintaining an identity after stepping away from official royal duties.
Instead, they attacked the judges. There's a statement which attacked the judges' integrity. They sort of suggested that he was party pre, effectively, crooked, and that they hadn't been given justice.
You cannot question the integrity of a judge.
Then came another explosive layer to the conversation. Throughout the transcript, commentators discussed the judge's criticisms and Harry's public response to the decision, with differing opinions about whether those reactions were appropriate. Those discussions rapidly became headline material, because whenever members of the royal family publicly challenge institutions, every word is analyzed from every possible angle. Supporters viewed the comments as an emotional response to disappointment. Critics viewed them as unnecessarily confrontational. The result? Yet another controversy added to an already growing list. And with every interview, every debate, and every television panel, public attention only intensified. But perhaps the biggest mystery wasn't inside the courtroom at all. It was inside Buckingham Palace. Publicly, the royal family revealed very little. Yet commentators repeatedly questioned what conversations might have been taking place behind closed doors. How would King Charles respond privately? Would the palace distance itself? Would family relationships become even more strained? Nobody outside those walls truly knew. And in royal stories, silence often creates more speculation than any official statement ever could. Every missing photograph, every carefully worded announcement, every absence from public events became another piece of a puzzle that millions of people tried to solve. Then came perhaps the most revealing contrast discussed throughout the transcript. Commentators suggested that King Charles appeared focused on minimizing public damage, while Prince William was portrayed as taking a firmer approach toward protecting the institution. Those are interpretations expressed by commentators rather than confirmed palace policy, but they fueled enormous public interest because they painted two very different visions of royal leadership. If those interpretations were even partly accurate, then this wasn't simply about one lawsuit anymore. It had become a story about the future direction of the monarchy itself. And when succession, family loyalty, and public accountability all collide, every decision suddenly carries historic significance. That's what makes this story so compelling. Not because every rumor is true, nor because every opinion deserves equal weight, but because it sits at the intersection of family, power, reputation, and public perception. One court ruling triggered a chain reaction of debates reaching far beyond the legal system itself. Questions about accountability collided with questions about loyalty. Financial discussions merged with conversations about royal tradition. Private family relationships became global headlines once again. And perhaps the biggest mystery isn't who won or lost inside a courtroom, it's what happens after the cameras leave, the headlines fade, and the palace doors close. Because history has shown that royal controversies rarely end with a single judgment. They evolve. They shift. They return when least expected. Every official statement creates new questions. Every unanswered question sparks another wave of speculation. And every new development becomes another chapter in a story the world continues to follow with relentless fascination. Whether this ultimately becomes a turning point for Prince Harry, a defining challenge for King Charles, or a preview of the monarchy under Prince William remains to be seen. One thing, however, is certain: this conversation is far from over. The headlines may change. The players may adapt. But the scrutiny surrounding Britain's royal family shows no sign of slowing down. And until the remaining questions are answered, this extraordinary royal saga will continue to capture global attention.